Begin by putting down your canvas mat on a surface that is nice and flat where you can work, and this will help keep your area clean. We are going to begin by grabbing a large chunk of our clay and breaking off a smaller piece of it, something that fits about in my hands. And I want to work this clay, what we call is kneading it. I can do it in my hands. I can use the table. And I'm making the clay more malleable, easier to work with. And I'm also, again, trying to get out some of those air bubbles as well. And you want to make sure the clay does not dry out and get cracked or look like a desert, or again, it's cracking and breaking up. So now that I've worked this clay for a little bit, I'm going to break this in half again, something a little bit more small and reasonable. And what I'm going to do is use this canvas surface to slowly begin to roll. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to use all of the palm of my hand. It's starting to get a little bit flat. I'm just kind of squishing it a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm sliding my hand from the left to the right. I'm going to break this, I think, and do it a little smaller. And what I'm trying to do is make a coil or a snake that is really no more wide. I can do it in my hands. That's going a little bit quicker, more quick. More wide than my pinky. So you can see I've got one end a bit smaller than the other. So I've got to work this left side. Once you've gotten a long coil or a snake, again about as wide as your pinky finger or a little smaller, no bigger than your pinky, you could grab some of your tools. I'm not going to really need too many tools for this project. I'm going to grab this little guy. And I can use it to cut any part of my coils here. On the platform, there is an image that shows you all kinds of types of coils. So I want to kind of go through those as we are building my coil bowl. So I'm using my bowl lined with saran wrap as a basic mold to help hold the shape of a bowl as I build it. It doesn't matter if I start at the bottom or at the top and work my way down. But what I want to be doing is filling the whole inside along the edge of the bowl, lining the bowl like the saran wrap is with our different types of coils to create a bowl. I'm going to use the coil to section areas of the bowl off, but I'll be doing different things in different areas. I'm now going to begin by filling one of these areas with another coil technique. I'm going to make a series of little spirals by starting at one end of my coil, and I'm going to start wrapping it, spiraling it around till I get a spiral the size that I would like. And I may use any of the tools to cut it off. And I have a spiral, and I can start again. And I can make them different sized or all the same size. That is up to you. But I'm just going to keep turning the end in making them as big as I would like to, and then cutting it off where I'd like it to stop. And these are spirals. Then I'm going to take those spirals and place them inside of my bowl. Where you have any holes in your project, you want to make sure that you fill them. So there's these little gaps, and I'm just going to take little bits of clay. I'm kind of rolling it up and pushing them there. At any point, break off a new piece of clay and start making yourself a new coil to work with. Once you again have made a coil, it's about the size or a little bit more narrowed than your finger, you are ready to use it in your bowl. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is to make a fold. So I have one of my long coils here. What I'm going to do is just bend it at whatever length I want and squish it together. You want to make sure the clay is damp so it doesn't snap or crack. Oh, and be careful, it's going to wiggle around so that you have a fold. And you want to press them together so there's no gaps. That's starting to crack. Have your little cup of water handy and just smooth it over to keep it from cracking. Anytime they crack, go ahead and add a little water and smooth them over. Now take your coils that you have folded and we're going to place them in the bowl. Just like with the spirals, any gaps that form, take a little bit of clay and you can either ball it up, or I'm going to make kind of like a little other part of a twist spiral to fill in there with. And press it right into those gaps. We're going to begin with making some arches this time. So little rainbows that we're going to build one over the other. I have a coil here that I've already rolled. And for this, I may use one of my tools to cut a piece. And I'm going to see if this coil will fit. So I'm going to bend it in an arch-like shape, like a rainbow, and press it in. Then I'm going to cut a piece to go on the inside, slightly smaller than the last one. And if I make it too big, I can use my clay tool and cut it where it needs to fit. And again, I'm just pressing it into the bowl so it sticks a little better. And for that open center, I'm just going to plug it in with a little tube-like shape. And again, press this so it's all sticking to one another on the edge of the bowl. And I will continue with my arches pattern. There are a few different things that I can do to fill in these gaps. I can continue building arches. I can fill it in with pieces of clay. But I need to make sure that that blue bowl disappears and I'm filling it in with clay. I have just a few areas left to fill inside the bowl. I don't need to go on this top edge at all. I'm just staying inside of the bowl. So I'm going to try showing you one more technique. We're going to try a twist. To make a twist, I take 2 coils about the same thickness and the same length, and I'm going to begin at the top, and I am going to actually lift this up a little bit, and I'm going to simply twist. And the more that I twist, the tighter it gets, and the more close together the twists are. And I can slowly move down it, creating more and more twists. And you want your clay to be nice and damp, or it will start to crack. And mine is cracking in a couple places. And there's a twist. I'm now going to take that and use it in this center piece. And I'm using a clay tool to help cut. Let's see what angle. And again, I'm pressing it a bit into the bowl to make it stick to the bowl and itself. I'm going to try one more twist down the center. One last section to do. And I think I'm going to fill that with coils. Now, once you have all of the inside of your bowl filled with clay coils, you have completed your clay bowl. You now have a big decision to make. Do you want to leave it so you can see all this texture, or do you want to smooth it out on the inside? If you are going to smooth it out, use the big metal rib that was part of your toolkit silver metal. That'll help smooth it out, or you can use one of your knives. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you don't, you're going to leave it just the way it is. So, to smooth or not to smooth, we are going to let our clay bowls dry out in these bowls so that they help keep this form. But I'm going to pull mine up so that you can see that the outside is going to maintain the shape and textures of coils that you have made. So, the outside will be all the texture like that. You can leave it so the inside is matching, or you can decide to smooth this out. If you want to smooth it out, go ahead, squirt it with some water. Then either use that metal rib tool. I did not bring one home with me, so I don't have one to show you. Or you can use your knife, and what you're just going to do is gently go over and smooth. And I can also, when it's not smoothing, add a little bit more water. I can also use my fingers. Anywhere where I have major holes, I can always fill it in with a little bit more clay. So now that I've started to go smooth with mine, I've got to commit and go for it. You may smooth out more than this. I'm leaving it a little bit lumpy where you can still see some stuff, but not quite every detail, because I don't want to press too hard that I'm squishing and smushing some of that cool coil and stuff that's going to show up on the outside. So I'm kind of settling for an in-between. So once you reach this stage, you are going to leave this alone and let it dry. And your job is to get this back to school as soon as possible in this bowl.